The most liberating moment of your life will arrive when you realize that other people's opinions of you are none of your business. Right now, as you listen to this, part of your mind is calculating, how do I sound? How do I look? What will people think if I share this? That voice has been running your life, making decisions for you, keeping you small and safe and acceptable. But here's what nobody tells you about the approval game. It's rigged. The very people whose validation you crave are often playing the same desperate game themselves, seeking approval from others, trapped in their own cycles of performance and pretense. You've been living as if your worth depends on their applause. But what if I told you that their judgment reveals nothing about you and everything about them? What if the key to your freedom isn't becoming more likable, but becoming completely indifferent to whether you're liked at all? This isn't about building thicker skin or learning to tolerate criticism. This is about something far more profound, the complete dissolution of your need for external validation, the approval addiction. Your brain evolved to keep you alive in small tribes where rejection meant death. That ancient wiring is still firing, treating every disapproving glance like a survival threat. The amygdala can't distinguish between a saber-toothed tiger and a harsh comment on social media. Both trigger the same primal panic. I'm not safe. But here's the paradox that keeps you trapped. The more you need their approval, the less likely you are to get it. Desperation has a scent. People can smell it from across the room. The energy of someone who needs validation repels the very validation they seek. Think about the people you most admire. Are they the ones constantly seeking approval? Or are they the ones who seem genuinely indifferent to what others think? There's a magnetic quality to someone who doesn't need you to like them. It's not arrogance, it's freedom. The ego's secret investment. Your ego has a secret investment in being judged. It sounds backwards, but consider this. When someone criticizes you, your ego gets to play the victim. When someone praises you, your ego gets to feel superior. Either way, the ego wins because it gets to exist, to matter, to be the center of the story. But what happens when you stop feeding this cycle? What happens when praise and criticism become equally irrelevant? The ego begins to starve, and when the ego starves, something remarkable emerges. Your authentic self. This is why detachment feels so threatening. Your ego whispers that without others' opinions, you'll disappear. But the opposite is true. Without others' opinions, you finally appear. The mathematics of judgment. Here's a truth that will shift everything. Most people's judgments of you are projections of their own insecurities, fears, and unmet needs. When someone calls you arrogant, they're often revealing their own struggle with confidence. When someone labels you as weak, they're broadcasting their own fear of vulnerability. Their judgment is like a Rorschach test. It tells you everything about them and nothing about you. You're not seeing yourself through their eyes. You're seeing their inner world projected onto you. This realization is both liberating and lonely. Liberating because you're no longer responsible for managing their emotions or meeting their expectations. Lonely because you realize that true connection happens not when people approve of your mask, but when they encounter your unguarded truth. The practice of indifference. Real detachment isn't about becoming cold or uncaring. It's about becoming so secure in your own worth that external validation becomes irrelevant. It's the difference between a mountain that stands unmoved by wind and a tree that bends with every breeze. This requires a fundamental shift in how you define yourself. Instead of, I am what others think of me, you begin to operate from, I am what I know myself to be. This knowing doesn't come from positive self-talk or affirmations. It comes from a deep, quiet recognition of your inherent worth that exists independent of achievement, approval, or acceptance. The practice is simple but not easy. Notice when you're performing for approval and stop. Notice when you're defending against criticism and stop. Notice when you're seeking validation and stop. In that stopping, something profound happens. You meet yourself without the costume of other people's expectations. The freedom beyond fear. What emerges on the other side of this practice is not indifference to people, but indifference to their opinions about you. You can care deeply about others without caring what they think of you. You can love without needing to be loved back. You can give without expecting gratitude. This is the freedom that lies beyond the fear of judgment, the ability to move through the world guided by your own inner compass, rather than the constantly shifting magnetic field of other people's approval. The person you were before you learned to care what others think is still there, waiting beneath layers of performance and people-pleasing. That person doesn't need permission to exist, doesn't need validation to have worth, doesn't need approval to take up space. Let them judge you, let them misunderstand you, let them project their fears onto you and call it truth. Their judgment is not your reality, it's their limitation. The moment you truly grasp this, you'll discover something remarkable. You've been free all along, you just forgot. The cage was never locked. The prison was never real. You were always free to be exactly who you are. So here's your invitation. Stop auditioning for lives you don't even want. Stop shrinking to fit into spaces that were never meant for you. Stop waiting for permission to be yourself. Let them judge you. And in that letting go, find the person you were always meant to be. If this resonates with you, if you're ready to stop living for applause and start living for yourself, let me know in the comments. And if you want more insights on breaking free from the patterns that keep you small, subscribe for content that challenges you to think differently about the life you're living. The world doesn't need another version of everyone else. It needs the first version of you.